Hello there. This simple 10-minute video will give you all the tools necessary in order to model Marvin the Martian and teach you how to use the Imagine and Shape workbench within CATIA. As you can see right here, this is the finished product of Marvin the Martian, of what you should be able to model with time, perseverance, and the tools that we are going to teach you. We're going to start by first modeling the torso. So we're going to open a new Imagine and Shape workbench under Shape, and then Imagine and Shape. We're going to call this the torso because that's what we're going to start with first. Now Marvin's torso we're going to model as a tapered cylinder. We can do that by first inserting a cylinder, which is found under the Sphere toolbench, and it's the second option. Now when CATIA adds something, it automatically selects all the surfaces for us, so we can translate it by simply clicking on the axis, moving it left and right, forward and back, and even up and down. We can also do this with just one plane as well by clicking on the plane tool, double-clicking on which plane we want to move, and we can move it this way as well. We're going to leave it in its cylindrical shape. We're going to rotate it first. As you can see, I never selected all the surfaces, so we're just going to end up rotating that plane. However, if we go back and click this toolbar, it now has everything selected for us, and we can rotate the entire cylinder. We want to make it tapered, so we're going to click the local normals button, double click the top, and if we pull it up, it's going to open up the top face, and it'll close it up if we pull the z-axis down. So we want to make it just slightly tapered. So about there's fine. We're going to click the spacebar in order to get out of this tool bench. And next, we are going to subdivide the top face, so make different surfaces which we can work with. And to do that, we are going to click the face subdivision toolbox, which is the sphere with just the red outline box. Now we click the top face, and with the slider right here, if we slide it all the way down to the bottom, we have a very small face. If we slide it up to the top, we have a larger face. We want something right at about 1/4. Click the check mark to accept. If you don't click the check mark, you won't accept the changes that are made. Click the spacebar twice to get out. Next, we are going to extrude his neck so we have something which the head can sit on. And in order to do that, we are going to click the extrusion toolbar. Click the top face and click the inner surface which we want to pull up. And click the check mark to accept. Spacebar to get out of it. Now if you open up your tree, Subdivision Surface 1 isn't very descriptive. So we're going to rename it, right click, Properties. We're going to call this the torso. And if we go under Graphic, we can change its color. Since Marvin wears a red shirt, we're going to change the color and the edges to red. Apply. OK. And there we go. We have the torso.
Alright, so now we're going to model his broom head, starting from what we have here. Mostly just going to modify this gray block. So the bristles on top are obviously not a solid block. So starting with this, we're going to click this tool over here, which was the face cutting tool, and then click the block. Kind of moving it around a little bit till we see the top face. You come over here and we're going to have it cut into 6 sections, and if we click along this edge, it will cut it along that edge, and click the check mark to accept. And so now we're going to hit the space bar once, and now we're back into the normal tools palette that we use, and we're going to click the line, and we're going to translate these individual lines up and down, and it'll kind of offset to form the bristles. So clicking every other line, and then the Z-axis, and you get a nice jagged edge. So now you can also do it in the other direction as well. So come back over to the face cutting tool, click it, and 6 sections again, or it'd probably be easier to see if we did less, 3 sections. And if you click another edge instead of this is the one we hit the last time, you hit a perpendicular edge and it'll cut the perpendicular direction. So click the check mark again, space bar, do the same thing. And so now we can translate each of these other lines individually, and eventually you can get perfectly imperfect section for the bristles. So hit the space bar only once and we're going to come over here and rename and color the bristles. So over to feature properties. Hopefully I spelled that right. Probably not. Into graphic, they're yellow, and then we're going to leave the edges black so that contrasts and actually looks like bristles.
The last part that we are going to model is Marvin's shoes, and in order to do that we are going to start with a sphere. We are going to subdivide one of the faces by going back into face subdivision. We're going to set it all the way at the top to give us this nice bullet-like looking shape. Click the check mark to accept the changes. Hit the space bar twice to get out of it. Next, we are going to have to cut it in half so he has a flat bottom. We're going to go into the Cut by Plane tool, and here we can see that the shoe is nicely cut in half. Now Katia is going to remove out this almost translucent part. So we're going to click the check mark to accept, hit the space bar, and now we need to rotate it. So we're going to click the rotate. And there is one of his shoes. We're going to go in and call this his left shoe. And we're also going to make it white and leave the edges black. Now, in order to make his right shoe, we're going to simply copy and paste. So we can right click on left shoe, copy, right click on part body, paste, and now it's on top of itself, so you can't see that it has actually done this. So before we do anything else, we're going to go in and rename one of the left shoes to be right shoe. If we double click on it, it will bring up our tool palette, and we simply want to rotate all of it. So again, and to collect all the points, this tool right here, and we are going to find the plane in which we want to rotate it about. And next, translate. Can move it back a little bit so they line up just perfectly. Okay. And there you have Marvin the Martian shoes.
Alright, another shape you would find useful for creating Marvin the Martian is the torus. Essentially a little donut that Katia gives you. And you can do the same things that you did with the other shapes. You can translate them and rotate the different faces and points and lines. And then the final tool you'll need is this erasing tool. It's a little plane with a X on it. It looks just like you're trying to delete something. So you would then pick the face that you want to delete and the check mark, and each subsequent face that you'd want to get rid of. So these are all of the basic tools you will need for creating anything in Imagine in Shape.